What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at 1932's The Mummy, starring Boris Karloff as the titular character. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. As an overall film, I think The Mummy is pretty good. I enjoyed this movie more than Dracula, but I don't think it's as good as Frankenstein. But with all that being said, on its own merit, this is a very good and solid 1930s Universal horror monster movie that is backed by an outstanding performance by Boris Karloff, as usual, as the titular character of The Mummy. So The Mummy won't go down as Boris Karloff's greatest role. That will always be Frankenstein. But The Mummy will go down as pretty much Boris Karloff's second signature role as a Universal monster. The Mummy is kind of like Frankenstein in a lot of ways, in terms of being like a tragic type of character, and in a lot of ways, The Mummy has a lot of parallels to Dracula, which only came out, I think, a year or so before this movie. So, like the Frankenstein and Dracula, you can see a lot of that influence in this film, in the way its atmosphere is created, and the way certain scenes are constructed. There's a lot of Dracula-ness to this film, but with that being said, The Mummy also strives to have its own identity, and the Egyptian setting, does a lot to give this movie its own authentic feel. The use of mysterious magic and ancient scrolls also help give this movie a unique, different feel. The character of Imhotep, played by Boris Karloff, who is the titular mummy, he's a different character than Frankenstein and Count Dracula. Imhotep was once this high priest who tried to resurrect his dead love, Anax-on-the-Moon. And when the pharaohs of Egypt found this out, they considered it to be sacrilegious, and they had him mummified alive. And when he's resurrected, his first goal is to bring back his lost love. That's another thing that makes The Mummy stand out, is that he's a tragic villain, but at the same time, there's this underlying love story. Like, he has a love for this woman that has gone beyond space and time. And that's what really, and that's a good romantic quality to the character as well. And I thought Boris Karloff's performance all throughout the film encapsulates pretty much everything. When Karloff needs to be terrifying in this movie, he can come across as very intimidating. But when he's having the scenes with the character of Helen and showing her, what happened to him, what happened to her, I like it. That's where his romantic side comes out, and you get the sense that he truly does love Anax-on-the-Moon, and he wants to do whatever he can to bring her back, even if it means sacrificing her reincarnated vessel Helen in order to do so. And that's where he can be both intimidating, and the love angle also creeps in as well in that instance. Like I said, I thought Boris Karloff did a really good job all throughout. In terms of the supporting cast, the actor Zita Johann, who played the character of Helen, I thought she was decent in the role. I thought she was fine. Her and Karloff have a lot of good scenes together, and they have decent on-screen chemistry with one another. And I think a lot of that has to do with the real life actress being very heavily into the occult and having a very spiritualized religion, so to speak, in her personal life. That kind of translates to screen and gives this character of Helen a very mythical type of uniqueness to her. And overall, I thought Johann's portrayal as the character of Helen was overall very, very good. Two performances that I thought were solid but had boring characters are Frank, played by David Manners, and Dr. Mueller, played by Edward von Sloan. Manners and von Sloan are holdovers from the movie Dracula. They play characters here that are very similar to their counterparts in the Dracula film, and just unlike in that movie, I thought their characters in this movie were just okay. Van Sloan's performance in Dracula was much better than it was in Mueller as Dr. Van Helsing. As the Dr. Mueller, who was one of the doctors that uncovers Imhotep, I thought he was just a Van Helsing ripoff, and not a very good one. I thought Mueller was kind of boring in a lot of areas, and David Manners is a good actor, but there's something about him I just can't latch on to. It's the characters he plays are just so they're just so one-dimensional. They have no personality, and the guy is and bless his heart, the man is really trying to make Frank into a likable character. And this movie is trying to build a romance between Frank and Helen, but I don't get enough scenes with these two for me to even care about a romance. I think they have maybe a couple of scenes together, not supposed to end, and the movie, and I think they've only known each other for like a week, and they're already loving one another. I don't get it. It doesn't work for me. David Manners in this movie as the character of Frank, he's too one-dimensional for me to care, and Dr. Mueller is just a Van Helsing ripoff, and you can tell because a lot of what Mueller does is similar to what Van Helsing does. And those are my two biggest gripes with this movie, to be honest with you. But things that I do enjoy, again, Karloff's performance is fine. Zita Johan's performance is really good. The overall production value of this movie is fantastic. They did the production team did a fantastic job at recreating the pyramids of Egypt and really giving this movie this Egyptian-like feel to it. Like, it was really well done, really well made. Cinematography in this movie is fantastic. Carl Freund as a director, I thought was good. He did a good job as a director. The special makeup effects by the legendary Jack Pierce are iconic. The look of the mummy is beautiful. This is how I envisioned a mummy looking like if I were to see one in real life. The only problem is that we only see this in the first 12 minutes, and unfortunately the first 12 minutes is actually probably the most scariest 12 minutes of the entire movie. And that's the only time we see Karloff in full mummy getup. After that, he's under the alias of Ardeth Bay, where the makeup is very, very minimal. I would have liked to have seen maybe one more scene as Karloff in full mummy getup, causing some chaos before we do the 10-year jump in time, and then he's just plain old Ardeth Bay, mysterious museum curator type guy. That's me. That's what I would have done. For the 12 hours that Karloff was in makeup, you could have at least got maybe one more scene out of him in full getup before we don't see it again. That's another big gripe I have against the movie. Another gripe I have against this movie is Helen is the reincarnated version of a Nox on the Moon, and they did have scenes of Helen seeing her past self go through different times and periods and where she was killed. That could have been really cool to see, and we didn't get that. A lot of everything is told to us through words, and it would have been cool to see reincarnated versions of Helen as a Nox on the Moon. I thought that would have been really cool to see on screen, but we didn't get that either. And not only that, the ending of this movie is just really rushed and really just underwhelming. And when all's said and done, a statue raises its hand and Imhotep just disappears and fades away. Kind of boring. Kind of a boring end to this film. So yeah, those are my overall basic thoughts on The Mummy 1932. When it's said and done, I'm going to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. I like it. I don't think it's as good as Frankenstein, but I like it on the same level as on Dracula. And yeah, I can't put one over the other because even Dracula has things that I didn't really care for. But overall, 7 out of 10 for The Mummy. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.